This is Todd Coburn of Cal Poly Pomona with lecture 23b of Aero 3261. The topic is interaction equations, which will apply to a small subset of our topics here in Aero 3261, and which will also apply to a few of our lectures in Aero 3271. So far, throughout the Aero 3261 class, we have evaluated stresses due to axial loads, shears, moments, and so forth. And what we normally do is have a single loading which produces a single stress which we compare to a single allowable. Whenever we do have a sole loading or a loading which only produces normal stress or only produces shear stress, then this approach is sufficient. Often, if we have multiple loadings on a part, we will still idealize the structure as only carrying one component at a time, which means we'll calculate the maximum normal stress due to axial load and bending compared to usually FTU or FTY. We will then check the maximum shear stress for the loading and compare to the maximum FSU, the shear allowable. And if we have stability, we will also evaluate stability margins of safety. However, many stresses, even if they don't directly add, like in a root mean square kind of relationship, do add in some manner. And one common way of evaluating these stresses is using interaction equations. Interaction equations can be as simply as computing a root mean squared. One term squared plus the other term squared, the whole quantity square rooted. However, interaction equations allow us to develop coefficients which tell how those stresses should be added together from like a semi-empirical method, like from testing, and then to turn it into an equation which then can be evaluated versus more testing. So we're going to look at that and how it works today. So we could say that interaction equations provide a means to evaluate the strength to a more elaborate criteria, which could be determined either theoretically or experimentally. What we will do with these is evaluate the proximity of each stress to its allowable. Normally, we look at factors of safety, which is the allowable over the applied stress. And in aerospace, we evaluate the margin of safety, which is that same allowable over applied minus 1. When we use stress ratios, we're going to use a slightly different but similar approach where basically we're going to take the applied stress, shown as F in this case, and compare it to the allowable stress, which we're calling capital F allowable. That's called a stress ratio, and it's generally given the symbol R. If we have one loading, the margin of safety would just be 1 over the stress ratio minus 1. If we have multiple stresses, we have to find the interaction equation and the margin of safety equation. For example, some stresses for certain kinds of parts might be related using interaction equation 1 here. R1 plus R2 equals 1. A good example of this is axial load and bending. Since axial load and bending, the stresses, the peak stresses add directly, this really is the interaction equation that would be used even though we normally don't think of it as an interaction problem. For something like the second equation, that's like a root mean squared relationship when say it's the vector sum of the components. And there can be other relations such as the third, which says, hey, you're going to have R1 and R2, which is basically added together, plus R3, which has a higher effect. the way we evaluate interaction equations, we actually have two ways to evaluate them. Often, we can find, for a given interaction equation, we can find a closed form margin of safety equation, as we will see in one moment. Whenever a closed form margin of safety equation is not available, we will need to plot the curve using the interaction equation. For example, if we look at the charts shown here, we see on the horizontal axis we have one component, we can call it R1 or Rx, and another component on the other axis we could call that R2 or Ry. And if we have a directly additive relationship, R1 or Rx plus Ry equals 1, that corresponds with this solid line that goes from 1 to 1. Any stress ratios, if you plot your Rx versus your Ry on the Rx on the horizontal axis and Ry on the vertical axis, if that point falls within the area enclosed by that interaction curve line, then that stress combination is fine. If it falls outside, it's not fine. We see with dashed lines the relationship Rx to the 1 plus Ry squared, and the third relation Rx squared plus Ry squared is shown as the phantom line. So we can look and see where our point falls, our combination of stresses falls, to determine whether or not the part is good for the loading that's shown. To evaluate margin of safety, we'll look at that in a moment on how we compute margins of safety for these interaction curves. Before we do that, let's take a look at an easier way to get the margin of safety. And the way that's done is we come and find a whether or not a closed form margin of safety equation exists. For example, if we look here, we see for additive stress ratios, R1 plus R2 equals 1, we have a closed form relation which says we calculate the margin of safety by just taking 1 over the summation of those stress ratios minus 1. If we have R1 plus R2 squared equals 1, then we see the corresponding margin of safety for those two stress ratios. The next one, R1 squared plus R2 squared equals 1, gives us the corresponding margin of safety equation. And if we have R1 plus R2 plus R3 squared equals 1, you can see the corresponding margin of safety equation there. Obviously, for any interaction equation where we have a closed form margin of safety relation, anytime we can find that margin of safety relation, the quickest and easiest way to calculate the margin of safety is to use the equation. And there are a number of other equations for different interaction equations that can be found in various references. However, if we cannot find a closed form margin of safety equation, we will need to plot the point and use the following methods, one of the following methods, to calculate margin of safety. So let's move forward and see how that works out. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to come on the horizontal axis and plot one stress ratio there. We're going to plot the other one on the vertical axis. And if, for example, this red curve is our interaction curve plotted on that graph, and we plot our point, Rx, Ry, against the curve, you can see that that should show a positive margin of safety. One way to calculate the margin of safety, what we need to do is actually compare the distance from the zero to the point related to the distance from the zero to the curve using what's called the loading line. So if we draw a line from zero, from the origin, through the point that represents our interaction, our stress ratios, Rx, Ry, and continue that line on past that until it crosses the interaction curve and beyond, all we need to do is compare these lengths, which basically means we're going to take the length to the allowable divided by the length to the stress ratio of our point minus 1, and that tells what the margin of safety is. Now, to do this analytically, we can take these values. We can go horizontally and vertically from the intercept of the point on the interaction line and use this equation. In fact, if we actually calculate the length of that one line from the origin to the interaction equation, that will be proportional to the value. If we just go and read the horizontal or vertical spot where that point of intersection between the load line and the curve occurs, so we can actually use the horizontal ratio of the distances or the vertical ratio of the distances or that through the load line ratio of the distances. These should all give the same answer, but they generally won't, mostly because of reading the graph errors. We can actually compute what the length of the line is from the origin to the interaction curve and the length of the line from the origin to our stress ratio point and compare those in the first equation shown at left. But an easier way is to just measure the line directly. If you have the interaction curve in a book or a text or in our handbook, all you really need to do is take any convenient scale and measure the length of the two relative lengths of the two lines and plug them into this equation on the left, and that will give you the margin of safety. And it will be the same as if you had actually read the curve and calculated values. So we can call that method 1. If we actually end up having to plot our interaction curve ourselves, meaning we couldn't find it, we would plot R1 versus R2 like this. We would then plot our point like that. We would then draw a line, the load line, from the origin through the point like this. Then we take we can read what the allowable is at the intersection of that curve, which means we're reading this point, our X allowable and our Y allowable. And then we can use this relation to evaluate the margin of safety, or that relation, or the other relation. So either the hypotenuse, or the horizontal, or the vertical, and these should all give the same number if we read the curve with the same accuracy for all three methods. So this is how we might compute that. In this class, we're not going to be plotting any interaction curves. Therefore, I will give you a curve, or there will be a curve documented somewhere where we go and read these values. Method 2. Basically, method 1, where we're checking the relative length along the hypotenuse, is the most common and most applicable for most structural loadings. However, let's say you have a load condition with two different kinds of stresses, and you know that one of those stresses, in this case, let's say it's the Y stress, cannot change, doesn't ever change, can't ever get bigger. In that case, it would be nonsensical to go and take a line through the hypotenuse, and what we really want to do is check the relative proximity of the interaction curve from the point in a horizontal direction. In that case, we just use a horizontal line to intersect the interaction equation, and then we take the relative ratio to calculate the margin of safety as shown. If, on the other hand, our X stress cannot change, but our Y stress can, then we would use a vertical line and calculate the margin of safety shown like this. This gives us our three methods. The only time we will use method 2 or method 3, or as if you saw information in the problem or in industry using your judgment that one of the stress components cannot change. And in that case, we use one of these methods. Otherwise, we're going to use method 1 to calculate all margins of safety for interaction equations. That's how you do interaction equations. We're only going to look at it here in lecture 23 and any testing or quizzes on this lecture for arrow 3261. But we will do use these interaction equations a few times when we get to arrow 3271. That's all. Enjoy, signing off.